who is the legitimate strongest man to ever step foot in WWE ring? Today, we are counting down the top 30 strongest WWE wrestlers in real life. Let's get into it. At 30, Rick Steiner brought pure, raw collegiate wrestling muscle. At 29, the Iron Sheikh built legendary grip strength using ancient Persian clubs. At 28, Braun Breaker is a freak athlete who routinely bench presses over 500 pounds. At 27, Miro is a legitimate powerlifter with absolutely unstoppable lower body strength. At 26, superstar Billy Graham was bench pressing 500 pounds way back in the 70s. At 25, Big Van Vader was a 400-pound monster packing NFL lineman power. At 24, Ryback backed up his massive physique by effortlessly manhandling super heavyweights. At 23, Batista brought intense, explosive bodybuilding power directly to the wrestling ring. At 22, the Warlord commanded respect with one of the biggest bench presses of the 80s. At 21, the Great Khali was an absolute giant with unbelievable upper body strength. At 20, Scott Steiner delivered legitimately dangerous suplexes using raw grappling power. At 19, Otis is built like a tank and boasts a massive 600-pound deadlift. At 18, Nathan Jones was a towering national powerlifting champion from Australia. At 17, The Big Show could easily lift 300-pound men off the ground with just one arm. At 16, Andre the Giant possessed mythical strength, moving cars and lifting 2,000 pounds without a gym. At 15, Bobby Lashley is a heavy-hitting MMA powerhouse who dominates the weight room. At 14, Cesaro is the pound-for-pound king, famous for deadlifting super heavyweights cleanly. At 13, Goldberg used incredible explosive core strength to jackhammer the 500-pound Big Show. At 12, Tony Atlas was a champion bodybuilder pushing over 500 pounds on the bench press. At 11, Bruno Sammartino set a staggering 565-pound world bench press record in 1959. At 10, Kane was the locker room legend who constantly dominated backstage arm wrestling contests. At 9, Big E is a former USA powerlifting champion who can deadlift nearly 800 pounds. At 8, Brock Lesnar famously squatted 1,000 pounds and tosses giants around like ragdolls. At 7, John Cena has the inhuman static stability to hold over 700 pounds of dead weight on his shoulders. At 6, Doug Furnas transitioned from world-class powerlifting to wrestling with a 985-pound squat. At 5, Braun Strowman proved his immense functional power by winning a legitimate Arnold Strongman competition. At 4, Ken Patra was an elite Olympic weightlifter decorated with 4 gold medals. At 3, Ted Arcidi shocked the world as the first man to ever officially bench press 700 pounds. At 2, Bill Kazmaier is a 3-time world's strongest man with a massive 661-pound raw bench. At 1, Mark Henry is the undisputed world's strongest man and an all-time powerlifting record holder. And there you have it, the top 30 strongest monsters in WWE history. Which of these legendary gym records surprised you the most? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like and make sure to subscribe so you never miss a countdown. See you in the next one.